good evening, West Orange, and welcome to our April 6th, 2021 Town Council meeting. Madam Clerk.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 30th, 2020, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 10th, 2020. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Present.
Councilman Rutherford?
Present.
Councilwoman Williams?
Present.
Council President Matute Brown?
Present. And so now we will go to our council liaison. I know it's a little weird. We don't have any presentations today. So if my council colleagues, I'm not seeing, oh, there you are, Councilwoman Castellino. Would you care to share your council liaisons?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start off with the Downtown Alliance. Big thank you to Joe Fagan. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please go on down to the Downtown Alliance webpage and look at all the great new videos that he has produced with a lot of our business owners downtown. This week, he just highlighted all of our bakeries. So great job, Mr. Fagan. We appreciate it. And a lot of goodies that we saw through your video. So hopefully there's a lot of folks realizing all the great stores downtown. So we hope you visit them. Ms. Burl has been very diligent. She'll be coming to us, Council President, with the next, maybe the next meeting or two. She'll let you know when she's ready. She wants to come on and present the new app that we'll have for downtown and also for business owners around town. So that'll be a nice presentation and talk about downtown Thursday nights in June and July. This summer, we're bringing downtown Thursdays, some entertainment, safe and social distance. And so we're looking forward to that. Mr. Lepore is also working on some parking ordinances that will come to us once he gets together with the county, similar to the ones we just passed on Eagle Rock Avenue with 15-minute and 2-hour parking regulations. I just want to give a big shout out to Debbie Salinardi, the director at the Degnan House. We've been having meetings via phone and mail, and she's just done a tremendous job all through this past year with COVID, keeping the building safe. So I just want to thank her for all her hard work. This Sunday, between 11 and 3 at our environmental center is Shredded Day. So I give a piece of advice to the residents: try to get there earlier than later. It's very popular to bring all your shredding up to the environmental center. But as soon as that truck gets loaded up, which happens quickly, it may only go to about 2:30. So make sure you get there early. And please show some love, West Orange, with spring cleaning and picking up litter around town. Winter is over, spring has sprung, and let's do our best part to keep our community clean this spring season. And thank you, Council President. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Castellino. Councilwoman McCartney.
Yes, good evening. Thank you. I want to pick up right where Councilwoman Castellino left off on spring cleaning. The West Orange Environmental Commission has a 20-foot by 10-foot trailer up at the environmental center. So if anyone would like to donate plastic toys, we are affiliated. We have a partnership with Second Chance Toys. You can donate your toys, and Second Chance Toys is affiliated with 12 charitable organizations that will come and we sort out and they gather and collect the toys. So keeps them out of landfill and gives them a second chance. So please look for that trailer up at the environmental center. Staying with the environmental center, we did have our meeting last Wednesday, March 31st, and we picked up where on the council's conference agenda, talking about gas-powered leaf blowers. I had invited the past president of the New Jersey Landscaping Association, the current president of the New Jersey Landscaping Association, and the executive director of the New Jersey Landscaping Association to our Zoom meeting. Everyone, of course, does want to move in that direction. So the Environmental Commission did not take a vote. We are not in favor of imposing any mandates on our residents. What we would like to work with the New Jersey Landscaping Association is to create educational material to present to the community so that if and when they do upgrade their equipment, they know what they are looking at and what's available for purchase. I was pleased to hear that emission standards have been changed by the New Jersey DEP. So that addressed some of the health issues that we did hear at our last meeting. And we're continuing to learn. So we'll work with the legal department and the health. Michael Fonzino is our new recycling coordinator. So we'll work with Michael Fonzino also to look at things that we will do for the community. The planning board will meet tomorrow evening, again on Zoom. Two things on the agenda is 732. We have to revisit 732 Eagle Rock Avenue. That application is being revised. And we will hear from the Alpert Group, which we also heard last week at our council meeting on 18 Central Avenue, proposing 94 units on Central Avenue, mixed use residential with additional public parking. So looking forward to that. I would invite everyone to visit the West Orange Arts Council. There is a virtual exhibit of the West Orange High School arts program. So we have amazing students at the high school involved in so many things. The Pedestrian Safety Commission also has students involved with distracted driving signs, the Green Team, a lot going on at the high school. And an invitation, open invitation from the West Orange Chamber on April 13th of the virtual Biz 2.0 at noon. Our guest speaker is Deborah Fine. You can register at westorangechamber.com. And the topic is the value of small talk as you're networking. And I just really do want to remind everyone to look at that Shop Local campaign about reducing your property taxes, a direct reduction on your property taxes as you purchase items from participating businesses in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCartney. Councilman Rutherford.
Good evening. Thank you, Council President. Briefly, Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board will be meeting on April 14th at 7:30. We invite everyone to come out and participate in the meeting. It is spring. You've heard council colleagues talking about that. So more people are out biking and walking. So we should be mindful of them, especially in areas where we don't have good sidewalks. So everybody keep your eyes open for folks that are looking to enjoy the spring weather. Open Space will meet tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Happy to report that a few of our new appointees are excited about expanding the reach and looking at how we can be more active in the recreation part of open space and recreation. So looking forward to that. And if you're interested in helping out, join us tomorrow night virtually at 7 o'clock. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rutherford. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you so much, Council President. So very happy to report that the Historic Preservation Society will meet on April 12th for our next meeting. And I reported at our last meeting on the previous encounters from that meeting. Also want to update that on March 21st, the Stop Suicide Coalition Advocacy met, and what our intent is to make sure that we have a leave behind for our first responders so that they will have information to provide for anyone who is in need of any type of information regarding to mental health. We will have a leave behind that our first responders will provide to West Orange residents by June. So if you are in need of any medical assistance related to mental health awareness or suicide prevention, that will be available for the community. I also want to identify that on Saturday, March 27th, we had our Hindu temple ribbon cutting ceremony. The mayor and myself both participated in that ribbon cutting ceremony for the Hindu temple located on Laurel Avenue. That was an exceptionally ceremonious event, and we want to acknowledge and welcome to the community all those who celebrate that faith. Thank you, Council President. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Williams, and I'm gonna applaud my council colleagues for this record-breaking time. It's 6:46, so I will indulge, which I typically do not, in some updates. I am sorry to have missed the Hindu temple ribbon cutting ceremony. I have been inundated registering our most vulnerable community in our efforts to make sure that everyone has access to vaccination. So I'm happy to say that I finally was able to turn those in today to the county, and we will have a mobile vaccination site tomorrow at Washington Street School. Really a show of community here with everyone jumping in at the last minute to ensure that we were able to provide 300 vaccinations to our most vulnerable residents in town. So I'm happy to report that that is underway tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing some of my council colleagues at the Washington School. Happy to see you there. OSPAC did meet yesterday. Unfortunately, because I've been registering, I feel like it's both a telemarketer and a data entry specialist now, calling and scheduling. And so I was not able to join the OSPAC meeting because of this deadline today. But those minutes have been shared. So all who are interested in seeing what's, the discussions with the OSPAC board, those minutes are public. Please make sure that you check the West Orange OSPAC page for that. I do want to also just share that OSPAC is opening June 5th. It starts to feel like summer when OSPAC opens. And there is a lot of events already slated. So please also make sure that you visit Pleasant Valley Productions website. And it's pleasantvalleyproductions.org, and to see all of the wonderful events that they have planned already. I'm really excited that they have also focused on opening early in May for the high school to be able to put on a production. It's the most incredible thing, written by David Maglione. And happy that our facility is actually being used by our youth. We're hoping to be able to attract more diversity with respect to the age population that visits OSPAC. So hopefully having a high school there will engender that as well. I don't have any further liaison announcements to share. So
Council President?
Yes.
Council President, Mayor, I think we can thank the mayor for the presentation yesterday on Rock Spring Golf Club. I thought he did an outstanding job, though we did voice our opinions. I'm pleased that it is a work in progress, and listening to the community and all of us weighing in, we do have our work to do. So I was just thankful to hear the presentation.
thank you, Councilor Courtney, for bringing that up. That is something different that we're doing this year. And again, I have to thank the administration for their time and effort to be able to have these additional workshops, so that we do have some time to listen to what their thought processes are, what their proposed, this isn't a proposed plan. This is a concept, I would say.
Right.
And as the mayor stated, presenting that concept to the council to better understand or gauge where we are in that space. And if it is not something that will be supported, it will not, they will look to go in a different direction. And I think that that's where we left off yesterday.
Right, that was excellent. Mhm.
yeah.
I appreciate the workshops. Yes, thank you for that.
I think so. Councilwoman Williams, I see you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, so I have to be extremely transparent as a mom and a parent of a graduating senior in 2021. I have to tell you that the dance department at West Orange High School will be one of the first organizations to do something at OSPAC. And it is something that is a joint partnership with our township, all the mothers of the graduating seniors who do typically produce this dance production. And I want to just say to those that are watching and those that are in attendance this evening, our dance program at the high school is only 4 years old. And so this is something that I have a dance daughter. I'm a dance mom. And so for many, many years, I have been reluctant to accept the role of a dance mom. I have not been one of those moms to say, hey, I have a child who is a dancer, but my child has been a student at Alvin Ailey Studios in New York since the time that she was in the 5th grade. And so for the past 8 years, while she has been a student in West Orange schools, I have always had the obligation of making sure she got to New York, to Alvin Ailey Studios to participate in dance, in addition to her participation at UPAC Studios here locally in West Orange. And my colleague, Councilman Rutherford, also has a dance daughter that I'm certain that he's proud of, but unfortunately, she is not a 2021 graduate. So he has another year for her to finish her completion of studies in West Orange. And so with that, I want to say that I commend the high school for making sure they utilize our current facilities that we have, making sure that these seniors have an opportunity to showcase their talents. And with that, again, since 9th grade at West Orange High School, our dance program, which was newly created at the high school, understanding that there are alternative measures for our students to endeavor, has been a production in the works. And so for our dance studios to actually take into consideration that these seniors really need an opportunity to showcase their talents, I am forever grateful to the partnership with West Orange High School for them to have this just straightforwardness and intuitiveness to give these seniors an opportunity to showcase what they have learned from West Orange High School. This is an opportunity that we should not take lightly. While, you know, my daughter does continue to go to New York, even during the pandemic, our high school is taking an opportunity to push forward despite community push, you know, intrepidation. Everyone isn't comfortable with indoor and or outdoor activities, but we must continue to push forward as a community. And we have the jewel of OSPAC to continue to push forward, to give these students an opportunity. They normally do their senior presentation in the high school in an enclosed environment, but because we do have OSPAC, they will have an opportunity to showcase their talent with the seniors. And so again, you know, as a parent of a graduating senior in the class of 2021, you know, my child has been accepted into several institutions for her continued studies. She is a dance major, but I am so grateful for our educational system in West Orange to just take that risk, something that has not been totally embraced by all of our community, to push forward and give these teens an opportunity to showcase their talent and to be able to provide the community with an opportunity to see what they can do. So I just again want to acknowledge Dr. Cascone, the West Orange administration, for the schools, and of course, everything we do in community to showcase the talent that we have right here in West Orange. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Williams. I'm very excited that they're able to take advantage of the partnership with OSPAC. To your point with respect to the pushback for the teams, I have to say, I do take, I understand both sides of the concern, because that's really what it is, seeing, and I have been very public and vocal about it, and I am not, shy to have concerns when some of the teams are clearly shown without masks. So especially going into this new wave that we're headed into, it's quite scary, but I'm glad to see that at least, there is some response to making sure everyone is safe and, wearing masks. Councilwoman Castellino, we're almost there.
I know, I fear I'll fly out the last minute, and
Thank you.
Councilwoman Williams, I just want to jump in because kudos, but just to give my colleagues a little history, I have to listen to, just to hear about the dance program so many years later. I was on the school board when actually Sandra Mordecai proposed that and brought that to the school district many years ago, and pushed forward till the board was able to get that done 4 years ago. So I just want to thank my former colleagues, especially Sandra Mordecai, for seeing that vision, and just so ecstatic to hear how our students are benefiting from it so many years later. So to thank her and my former colleagues for their efforts.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Castellino. Councilman Rutherford. Councilman
So
Rutherford.
since we have 3 minutes.
We have
since we have
4 minutes,
thank you.
3 minutes now.
I'll use about 30 seconds of it. Since we had brought up the youth, I have met with the West Orange Youth Caucus and the West Orange Young Democrats. I believe Council President has as well. I am super excited about their energy and enthusiasm, their commitment, dedication to this town, and how they are expressing themselves. They are working diligently on understanding how to approach the Civilian Review Board and process, and to get something like that done here. And to hear these young people, their command of the issues, their knowledge of the law, it is absolutely exciting. So I want to give them a big shout out, and look to hear more about that from them in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Awesome, and thank you. And lastly, since we have now 2 minutes, which I will try to take up not 2 minutes, but I would be remiss if I did not ask everyone to put on your calendars, please, April 11th. We will be standing and joining our Asian brothers and sisters in solidarity to support them in stopping the hate against our Asian communities. As we've all unfortunately witnessed, it is increasingly not concerning. It just sends chills up my spine to see and bear witness to this. And I have to thank the Human Relations Commission for partnering with some members of the St. Cloud Diversity Council to make sure that we elevate the voices of our Asian community here in town and show support. So April 11th from 6 to 7 p.m., we will be socially distancing at Town Hall. And there isn't some speakers within the community that will be sharing some stories, sharing insight on how we can support one another and what our efforts should be moving forward in raising and elevating, the fact that racism is it's not a monolith. It's not Black against white. It's not Black, Hispanic. We're all impacted by the culture of racism. So please, April 11th from 6 to 7, please show your support and solidarity and join us, wear your mask, socially distance, and we will see you there. Almost 7.
So we did this. We did this. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. We did this.
Excuse me,
first time. This is the first time we've done this. We should be commended.
Thank you. Councilwoman Castellino.
Your council president, it may be pending matters, but will we be discussing dates for our budget hearings tonight later on? Or
I would like to do that, yes, during pending matters with Mr. Gross, at least an update
Okay.
on the budget. And it is now 7 o'clock, time to open public session. I'm not public session, our public meeting. Madam Clerk, please.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 30th, 2020, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 10th, 2020. Councilwoman Castellino,
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney,
Present.
Councilman Rutherford,
Present.
Councilwoman Williams,
Present.
Council President Matute Brown.
Present.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag of the United
United
States of
States
Of
America
America,
and
and
to the republic
for
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice.
justice for
for
all.
all.
The council is now in their public meeting.
Thank you. Oh. Madam Moderator, please give our residents in attendance instructions on how to participate in public comment should they wish to join public comment.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, for all those who would like to speak, now would be your chance by using the raise your hand button located at the bottom of your screen. If you're one of our call-in attendees, it is *9. You don't have to wait for everyone or anyone to stop speaking. It will put you in a queue as soon as you hit that button. So at this time, Mr. Joe Fagan, if you can please follow the prompt on your screen.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good evening, Council President and all council members. I just have a brief announcement tonight. I want to remind residents and specifically any golfers that will be using the Rock Spring Golf Club that Rock Spring Road will be closed for maintenance beginning today through Friday, April 9th. All guests should follow police guidance and signage to 345 Walker Road to enter the golf club for the golf course. Through the golf course maintenance entrance, and please allow for some extra time and use caution as there could possibly be traffic delays arriving to the club. And if you have any questions or need to modify your tee time, please call the golf shop at 973-731-6464. That number is on our website, and we are sorry for any inconvenience this may cause, and certainly thank you for your patience during the road construction. The inconvenience is temporary, but the improvement is permanent. Finally, I just want to say something that Councilwoman Williams said before. You know, we were at the Hindu ribbon cutting, and she alluded to the fact that she's a dance mom and that her daughter studies dance. But I have to report to the West Orange public that Councilwoman Williams is well versed in the Hindu culture when it comes to dancing, and I can attest to that and have the pictures to prove it. So with that, I will conclude my report this evening. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Oop, I hit the wrong button. Next, we have David Kuby. If you can follow the prompt on your screen and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, this is Dave Kuby. I'm the director of the West Orange Public Library, 46 Mount Pleasant Avenue. I just wanted to get on here and say that today is National Library Workers Day. Today, our friends presented gifts for all of our staff. And if you have the opportunity, take the time to thank the library staff. We have been open since July 14th to the public, and the staff have been diligently serving the community of West Orange, and they certainly have earned the community's thanks. And I want to thank the staff. They're phenomenal. I am lucky to be their director. And I also wanted to mention that at the most recent library board meeting on March 25th, the library board passed a resolution in support of Build America's Libraries Act. And this is a federal act that is both in the House and the Senate. And it will provide $5 billion for libraries. And one of the priorities that would, I think, benefit West Orange is for lower income communities, so that when we move to the location at 10 Rooney Circle, we will apply for this to provide funds for making 46 Mount Pleasant what it really truly needs to be a library branch for this side of the community. So it's a two-step we're on, and we are excited to continue our path to serving the community of West Orange. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Walter Douglas. If you can please follow the prompt on your screen and give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. This is Walter Douglas. I live at 7 Weber Road in West Orange. Thank you for having me this evening, and thank you to the chair and to the committee members. I just called to express my concern for the plans for the development of the Rock Spring Golf Course. I know there's been a lot of different discussion and the presentation of several different plans. And I would hope that whatever the conclusion is, it's one that is a true benefit to the community in the long run, both in the aesthetics of the community, the volume, the capacity, the density, as well as allowing that golf course to provide a structure as well as a recreation facility that benefits all. I think there's great opportunity to take advantage of the course as is, if evolved and developed, especially the antiquated clubhouse. But I am very concerned with the rumors that have been bandied about more housing and residential being developed in that space, given that there's already challenges and questions about the volume in that corridor. So I am on the Recreation and Open Space Commission, and so I'm getting some of this information through that vehicle. And so, I'm new to this public service, so if there's a way I can better understand and be educated about what's happening and how decisions are going to be made, I'd be very grateful for that. But again, I'm concerned that any additional development in that space be consistent with what the course currently is, which is a golf course, a recreation space, and an event space, and not more residential property that would add unneeded density in population traffic in that area. Thank you for your time, and I give up my time now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Rosary Morelli. With Rosary, we do have to bring you over, so just don't do anything with your computer, and I'll bring you over and turn off your camera for you. And while I'm bringing Rosary over, if we have anyone else who would like to speak, they can use the raise your hand button and be put into the queue. Okay. And Rosary, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just your name and address for the record.
Okay, thank you. Rosary Morelli, Ralph Road.
Okay.
Tonight, your opening comments really inspired me. I am so thankful that the council took the initiative to have a program supporting our Asian American neighbors. I think it's so important. The way, as I said in my last talk, the hatred that's going around the world has to be stopped. And I liked the idea that we're a town that lets everybody know it will stop here. So thank you for what you did. I think your action makes a statement that West Orange is a welcoming town. And this is very obvious by the diversity in the makeup of our community. And this really shows our effort to bond and have with all of our neighbors and have a real community. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just going to change you back over. So don't touch anything on your screen. Okay. And next we have Liana DeChico, pardon if I mispronounced that. If you can follow the prompt on your screen and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, no, you actually did really well with that.
Thank you.
Go Undercliff Terrace South. Thank you, Town Council. Good evening. It's been a while since we've talked about Rock Spring, so here I am again to put some input on the subject. I know it's not a forum for that, but I wasn't able to get any comment in yesterday, unfortunately. So I just wanted to add that here. I'm coming from a place of reason where I understand that the township needs to do something in terms of offsetting the revenue lost by the purchase of Rock Spring. However, what I did see from last night is not exactly what I think anybody really had in mind, to say the least. So I believe that there's a difference between what's necessary to recoup revenue and what's excessive. So moving the clubhouse to me, which is like one of the benefits for the community and non-golfers, to me that was excessive, extremely excessive. Moving that asset to nonetheless moving that asset to accommodate a developer's request to monopolize our view and taking that away from the town, in my opinion, that's not only excessive, but it is selfish. And then a 300-unit apartment complex is just something that I wouldn't have imagined us having this conversation back in 2019. I knew that, there was some opportunity for development, right? It was always brought up. We might develop the land, but numbers that we were talking about were, 175 units on Northfield Avenue across 15 acres. And now we're getting 300 units on 6.5 acres, monopolizing basically the most valuable part of what we have to offer at Rock Spring that's not golf. So that was upsetting. And again, I just think excessive. So I understand again that some development needs to be done. I think a lot of us are hoping that it would have been updating the clubhouse and the restaurant as opposed to putting development onto the property and putting more housing options. There's also a lot to take into consideration in terms of what's going on in the area. I don't understand. I'm not really understanding too much of the appeal of all of these luxury units popping up across Gregory and St. Cloud, and now bringing that into Rock Spring, Upper Gregory. Just seems like a lot. For me, I from what I understand, the developers want the view, right? But if it's not enough to build on the golf course and it's not enough to build in West Orange, then they don't deserve to build in West Orange. Why does the town have to sacrifice? Why do the people, the residents, have to sacrifice the one thing that we really have that's ours, which is that clubhouse? Yeah, I can't stress enough. I don't think it's just. I don't think it's the right thing to do. And I think that the town and the residents deserve better. With that, I'm gonna cede my time. Thank you so much, Town Council.
Okay, thank you. And next we have Eileen Massajack. She also needs to be brought over. So, because you have an earlier version of Zoom. So Eileen, please don't touch anything on your computer. You're going to see it change. I'm going to bring you over and then I'm going to turn off your video. And while we're doing that, this will be the last call. If anyone has any questions, using the raise your hand button. So after we have Eileen here, sorry. And Eileen, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, thank you. You're all set. Just your name and address for the record, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name.
That's okay. It's Eileen Maciejek. I live on Undercliff Terrace South also. I appreciate you listening to me. Just blown away from originally what was discussed, possibly a senior housing, maybe 50 units on Northfield a couple years ago, to a 300-unit building with a parking deck. We already have problems behind us on Burnett with flooding and that. This would add more to it. It's not what I care to look at. And the golfers who, when they golf, have the beauty of looking at the New York skyline will have that now blocked by the beauty of looking at a 300-unit apartment building and a parking deck. We now have building across from the zoo with housing. We now have the Essex House going to be turned into housing. The traffic on Northfield is horrendous. And to even attempt to put an entrance on Walker will just back that up even further. Our schools are at capacities. You have 2 units already going in on Northfield. Throwing another one here will overcrowd both Gregory and St. Cloud schools. You know, our schools are bursting at the seams. We don't have enough room to take that amount of new people in with their children. You know, I understand, as said, they need to recoup some revenue, and I was fine with the original, what was thrown about maybe a 50-unit senior housing on Northfield, which would not have been a multi-story high-rise with a parking deck. That's just, I'm sad. I have lived all my life in West Orange. I've grown up here. I went through the whole school system. My children have gone through the school system, and it just breaks my heart to see the change in what West Orange is becoming. We have buildings on Main Street, the Edison lofts. We have these 2 going up. Like, where does it stop and at what price? When do we stop and appreciate the views and what we have of nature? That's my comment, you know. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. And once again, I'm just going to change you back over so you don't have to touch anything on your screen. And while we are doing that, next, Sibel, S-I-B-E-L, McFarlane. If you could follow the prompt on your screen and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi there. Hi, everybody. Well done. Yes, Sibel McFarlane. Hello. I'm on West Road, so directly affected by the Rock Spring Golf Club development. And I was able to listen to some of the meeting last night. I just want to echo essentially every comment made so far tonight about the Rock Spring Golf Club, but I'd also like to say that, you know, I understand development, right? I mean, I get it. I get economics. I get that we need to increase revenue and all of that. And so I have a couple questions. One, I'd like to know how the council is planning to further discuss this, right? I mean, I'd like to be involved. I'll be perfectly clear. I'd like to lobby each one of you and express, you know, what myself and neighbors and others, you know, feel about it, and then also work with you, right? Because being a complainer is no good. So, you know, I think there are a lot of ideas out there that we'd like to consider. It's a big burden for you guys to consider on your own, and I get that. And so I'd really love to have a mechanism or a mode for those who are concerned to work with you to find a equitable solution. Clearly, it being, you know, it's almost my backyard. I have perhaps a little greater concern, but I do want to also state that, you know, I don't want to be the subject of, you know, like what's happening in San Francisco, like all the NIMBYism and all that. That is not what I'm into, right? Like, I get it. I know that there needs to be development, but I can guarantee that having a parking lot behind houses on West Road that's going to have lighting that is going to be light pollution, noise pollution 24/7, except for maybe in like January, would be, you know, a really big problem. And as others have said, it was not even close to what was suggested even just a few months ago, when certain people were campaigning and came to my door and said, hey, you know, we're thinking of a couple luxury condos and you know, something tasteful. So, you know, I just want to, I want to be positive. I want to be helpful. And I'd really love for each council member to share how you guys are going to go about, you know, working on this. How can we stay involved and you know where you guys are headed, because I just don't want to wake up one morning and say, oh, it's decided, and we had no way of doing something about it. So that's it. I mean, I really respect everything that you guys do. I'm fascinated by the fact that you all give your time to do this, and just think it's incredible. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, if you guys have a chance to share that information, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before we get to Mr. Puglisi, I'm gonna call a last call for anyone who would like to speak during this public comment time. It's the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you don't see one, just move your mouse and it'll reappear for you. Or if you're one of our call-in patrons, it is *9, and a little robot voice will prompt you that you're in the queue. Not my voice. Okay, seeing no other takers, Mr. Puglisi, if you can follow the prompt on your screen, please.
Hi, good evening.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. I got a lot of stuff going on over here. This is Anthony Puglisi, representing County Executive Joe DiVincenzo. As always, I want to talk to you about some COVID news. We are continuing to offer free testing on Tuesdays at the Hall of Records in Newark, and Saturday mornings at our Public Works facility in Cedar Grove. Even though we are vaccinating, we do encourage people to continue to get tested, especially if they feel that they have some symptoms. It's one of the ways that we can get an accurate control of the virus. We also continue to do our weekly food distributions every Thursday morning. This week we are at the Payne School in Newark. And then I just want to touch briefly on the vaccination process. In partnership with the West Orange Health Department, we have started vaccinating homebound residents. To date, there have been over 251 Essex County residents vaccinated. 29 of them are from West Orange. Also in partnership with West Orange, we've expanded our senior busing program, and we are going to be busing West Orange seniors to the Adubato Fieldhouse in Branchbrook Park. It is the sixth vaccination site that we've set up, and it is dedicated especially for senior citizens who are coming by bus through our special transportation program or through busing from other municipalities. We've been doing that for several weeks with Newark, Irvington, Orange, and East Orange. I think we've worked out all the kinks, and so it's being expanded to other municipalities, and West Orange is one of the first new towns that we're going to be partnering with. So we're very excited about that. It's an opportunity to get seniors and other hard to reach communities, populations vaccinated. And then, as always, every day we continue to add appointments based on the number of doses that we receive from the state. This week is a robust vaccination week because we received an extra 10,000 doses, which we immediately put out and made available to the public. And with everyone's assistance, oh, I almost forgot. Tomorrow we'll be in Washington School, and that's in special thanks to Council President for helping us arrange that. And I guess that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that is all from our side of the public comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. And Anthony Puglisi, thank you and for being such a great partner. The county is and I watch other counties. I'm so proud to be a resident here in Essex County, where you know, a lot not things are not just spoken, but you know, things are put into action quite quickly, because I feel that we are a community that cares about our residents, about each other, and you know, so thankful for the opportunity to bring this to our residents here in West Orange as well. So thank you for that, Anthony. I'm going to briefly touch upon some of the comments that were made this evening. Rosary, just thank you for feeling inspired. I too am quite inspired by our community members and residents, and I'll share a feel-good story with you very briefly. On a call today, registering a couple in West Orange, before we got off the call, she asked if she could please call her senior resident neighbors to make an appointment for them, and And she gave me their phone number and I contacted them. And they said, and it literally, gave me pause and certainly inspired, restored a good restorative feeling for humanity, the goodness of people, because this senior citizen said that she doesn't know how she would survive without the care and concern of her neighbor. It was amazing. So I agree with you, Rosary. This is inspiring. I don't want council to take the credit because this is Human Relations Commission. I participated in the conversation, but this is a Human Relations Commission agenda. So I'm very proud in their direction and certainly supportive of this. Please come out to support. Mr. Douglas, welcome to public service. I'm happy to hear that you're looking for new ways to get involved. How do you know how decisions are made, what's coming up? Part of that process is what we're doing here with the council, having the workshops, having the discussions in public in hopes of having and engaging other voices outside of the council and outside of the administration before anything is put before us to make a decision. Certainly tune into the town council meetings. Feel free to reach out to any one of us. Email or phone is a good way to reach us since we're now in a pandemic. To the other residents, I want to say I share your sentiments of your concern for Rock Spring. Yesterday was not a plan. I think it was more of a concept that the administration thought of. There is nothing before the council. Speaking personally, how do you engage? How do you become a part of this? I know that before I made my decision to vote yes for the purchase of Rock Spring, I was invited into many of your homes and we had many discussions. It was in great part the reason that I voted yes for it, because of those discussions. So while we are in this pandemic space, I am happy to have Rock Spring roundtables, if you will. I was actually thinking about that earlier and reaching out to some of the members also who called in during the workshop yesterday, because I do want to hear your ideas. I don't want to do this alone. I don't think that we should and we could do this alone. So I am going to be hosting some Rock Spring roundtables via Zoom so that we can just start engaging in those conversations. If you follow my council page on social media, I'll post something relatively quickly just so that we can start engaging in dialogue. So certainly appreciate everyone for joining us this evening, and I will give the floor to Councilwoman Castellino.
Thank you, Council President. So let me go down the list here. Dave Kuby, thank you for all the work that you do and all the staff, all of your staff. It is National Library Day, and the Friends of the Library has, they have done some kindness, that sent some treats over to the staff. So always appreciative of what they do. They have worked really hard during the pandemic. They were essential workers, to say the least. And with all their creative and innovative ideas to keep our community pretty much busy with the online activities and sending home materials in a safe way. So it's been a long year for them, and kudos to them. Thank you for all for them and what they do. Let's see, Anthony Puglisi. I travel a lot with my job throughout the state. And when I go to other counties and hear feedback about what a great job they're hearing in Bergen County and Hunterdon County, I was just at this past week, and Passaic County, what a great job Essex County is doing for their residents with vaccinations. So it is impressive. The work that has gone into this has really paid off, and our residents are all benefiting for it. So again, always thank you. Pass our thank yous off to the county executive and the Board of Freeholders and all the staff there. Rosary, I heard it in your voice when this first happened a couple weeks ago, and you had called me, and this is something dear to your heart. We need to stop the hate. Always been proud to say that that's what we do here. This comes natural for us here in West Orange, and that's why always proud that we have the Human Relations Commission, because this is their task and their mission, and really, really proud. I'm away on Sunday. I hope to be back for the event, because I just know how heartwarming it will be, because we always know how to do it right here in West Orange. Hopefully it will rub off on the rest of the world. Mr. Douglas, welcome to public service, as Council President had said. It's a process. It's definitely a process. And even all my friends over at Rock Spring that called in today, I've met many of you over the past years. And, we were taken a little bit back last night about some of the concepts that were presented to us. I've made mention, I was very disappointed about the restaurant not being where it's at. Moving that clubhouse, parking garage was a surprise. Again, there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of dialogue still to be had. And I know Council President, we had talked earlier about how we're going to reach out to the residents, and I like to see something as well as a roundtable. I know with the weather coming, if we could even do something at Rock Spring, I had even mentioned to the mayor, because just speaking with the neighbors individually, they do have a lot of great ideas, and I do appreciate that many of you understands the economics that have to go into this, and what could have been with if we didn't buy the property, and everyone is understanding, but also at the same time a lot of frustration. And so we need to work through that with the administration and make sure that there's a very thoughtful plan put forward that will work for our residents and community. I think that's it. I don't remember a talk of luxury condos, so that wasn't me. I think I covered everybody tonight. So thank you everyone for coming in, and especially for those who also listened last night and today. We appreciate it, and we definitely welcome the feedback. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Castellino.
Excuse me, Council President. I'm sorry, I'm remiss. I have to thank you for your efforts with the vaccinations at Washington Street School. So thank you very much, because it is a neighborhood that, just to get the word out, and with some language barriers. And I think it's just wonderful that we're getting so many people vaccinated. Very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you. And to your point, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that one of our newly elected council members, board member Melinda Huerta, jumped right in. She's been an incredible asset and support. Great community building. Thank you. Councilwoman McCartney.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to hear how that all came together. And I mentioned last night also about the CERT team had already been notified. So, all hands on deck. So that's great. So let me say a thank you to Anthony Puglisi for never letting up the entire past year on either the food distributions, the efficiency at the vaccination center, and adding all the transportation for seniors and residents. Just thank you to Anthony and the county for that. I wanted to say thank you for Joe Fagan for making that announcement about repaving the Rock Spring Road. Since I'm sure that the engineer notified all the residents about that, but I certainly wouldn't want them to think that we jumped ahead with anything, having heard that plan just yesterday afternoon for the first time. So, sorry, my screen just blinked off. Sorry about that. And to the residents in that Rock Spring area, I wanted to say thank you to Leanne. I remember how articulate she was at Liberty Middle School when we had that open meeting. To Ms. Maciek and to Ms. McFarland, thank you for your comments. We did just hear this plan yesterday. I appreciate that you want to stay positive and helpful. That's exactly what we need to do to move a plan along. I appreciate the fact that everyone does understand that there will be some type of development. And as was mentioned last night, this is a work in progress. And if you recall, it had to be 2 years ago that we were having open public meetings at Rock Spring. And due to COVID, now we are doing virtual meetings, certainly not the same. But I like that idea of having something if at Rock Spring, if we could do something safe there, or continue to have the workshops. I think they're very helpful to hear what everyone has to say. So it is a work in progress. I wanted to thank Rosary for her comments also, and that not just Rosary, but to anyone and the HRC to share ideas on more ways that we can show our respect and solidarity, Asian American and Pacific Islanders. So I do appreciate the HRC taking this initiative for Sunday evening. And if there's anything else we should do, please let us know. And a thank you to Mr. Walter Douglas. Welcome. We look forward to your comments. Rock Spring Golf Club, we do need a long-term plan. And as you've heard, if you were on the call last night, we are seeking amenities for both the public and the golfers. So I feel like that's the conclusion that we came to last night after listening to the meeting, that we want to address the concerns of all. And to Dave, thanks, Dave Kuby, National Library workers. Again, just as I said to Anthony, no one at the library let up for the past year. If it wasn't book drops or anything virtual, we're still doing the library is still doing the virtual science experiments and book reading. I share that with all of my students and families as well. And I look forward to hearing more information about the Build America's Library Act. Hopefully that we can take advantage. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCartney. Councilman Rutherford.
Thank you, Council President. To both Mr. Puglisi and Mr. Fagan, thank you for showing up every week and keeping us informed. To
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mr. Rutherford, I'm not.
Great work you've been doing down there.
One second, Mr. Rutherford. We actually froze, and then it sped you up so much to catch you up. So if you just want to start back to your just thanking Mr. Puglisi and Mr. Fagan.
Okay. I don't know what to do about that, so I'm just gonna keep going. You guys will let me know if we freeze again. Just wanted to thank Mr. Fagan and Mr. Puglisi for showing up every week and keeping us informed. Also wanted to thank Mr. Kuby. We certainly do appreciate all of the library workers, including our director. So thank you for the great work you've done down there. With regard to the Build America's Libraries Act, it's news to me. I'm glad to hear that there's maybe something done there. But whether we get funding from them or not, it is critical to keep a library space open for the Main Street corridor and the Valley Arts District for those folks in the highly populated areas of town that do not have the ability to drive up the hill to the new spot. So one way or another, we have to make sure that that asset is protected for those residents. Mr. Douglas, I've known Mr. Douglas outside of politics, but I certainly welcome his voice on the Open Space Rec Committee, where he's already added some value, including trying to formalize a training program for new attendees. I think his idea, an orientation program rather, I think that idea is something that should be done across all of the committees and commissions. So thank you so far for what you've already done. With regard to Rock Spring, we are doing something new this year. And the workshops, I think, are a great way for residents to get involved and not feel time pressure with regard to the back and forth about what your ideas are. So we certainly will make sure that you're kept in the loop with regard to any future workshops. Rosary Morelli, she's just a gem, and I want to thank her for her comments. I do want to just say a couple of things about the anti-Asian hate that we're facing right now. It is just getting attention now, but this is something that has been going on. We saw a spike in anti-Asian hate and Asian aggression or aggression towards Asians, beginning when former President Donald Trump started calling the COVID-19 virus the Kong flu or whatever using those pejorative statements and trying to China virus or whatever he said. We've seen that. And I think West Orange, because we are so diverse, we have an opportunity not just to talk about these things. We've already gotten to a point where we're able to do that fairly freely, amongst neighbors and friends, but actually taking action. We need allies. The Asian community needs allies. And one of the things I think is important is that when jokes are being made or statements are being made, each one of us has an opportunity to stand up for that community. It's a teachable moment. It's an opportunity to show that you care and support that community. And by even taking that small step, it keeps some things from escalating. And some folks will learn what they can and cannot do around you in particular. So I want to encourage all of the West Orange residents, we are certainly moving in the right direction. I'm grateful to the HRC for putting this program together. Unfortunately, I have a prior commitment and I cannot break it. So I will not be able to be there, but I will certainly make my own statement and post it on my social media because it is that important. But let's go a step further and show up for each other, even in those small interactions or those day-to-day interactions, especially with friends, but even with strangers, to show that we are not that we are allies to the affected communities, and that it's not just a moment that we're going to look at this and then move on to something else when the anti-Asian hate, so to speak, dies down. I may mess up some names and I do apologize, but Leanna DeChico spoke about Rock Spring and the residential component that was presented. Eileen Massenjack, I believe, again, I apologize, spoke to the same concern, as well as Sybil McFarland. I will say, in echoing our council president's sentiment, this is a concept, this was just a presentation. And I do want to applaud the mayor. I don't agree with the mayor, and I'm public about that on some issues. I don't mince words. I think that's my role, is to be honest and transparent about how I feel about certain things. But in this particular regard, he appears to be very willing to listen, to invite folks to the table at an early enough stage where the feedback can be incorporated. And so I do appreciate the approach that was taken both last night with public comment and tonight with public comment, in the spirit of cooperation, trying to get a better outcome. I think these conversations are important, and I think all of us will benefit when we listen to each other, and we'll get some better outcomes. I think that's it for me. So I'll stop now. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Rutherford. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you so much, Council President. So I want to continue to echo Councilman Rutherford's comments regarding the American Asian community. And what I want more so than anything else for us as a community is for us to be inclusive about this vigil. And what I realized, because I am a frequenter of one of our Asian American businesses, is that our Asian American community had not been informed about the vigil. And so while the majority of the Asian American businesses or American Asian businesses, whatever your terminology is prevalent, and that you partake in, is that they have to be notified that this is something that we're doing in West Orange. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is a lot of those businesses don't actually live in West Orange. So I encourage the Human Relations Commission, and in full transparency, I think we all know that I am the immediate past chairwoman of the Human Relations Commission that is hosting this vigil. So we need to be diligent and make sure that our Asian American community is present at this vigil. And so it would be remiss if I did not encourage each of my council colleagues, as well as the community in whole, to make sure that they are aware that this vigil is happening on Sunday, and that they are absolutely present. So that is my encouragement to each of us as council colleagues, and encouragement to the Asian American as well as the Pacific Islander community to actually show up. We're doing this in solidarity with the abuses that you continue to suffer as a community. And we would be remiss in West Orange if we did not have you in actual participation. So we welcome each of you to perhaps go out of your way and come back to West Orange on a Sunday evening when it may not be your actual opportunity to come to West Orange and do business, to be with us, to show that unity and solidarity with your community. Also, in reference to Rock Spring and the commentary from Mr. Walter Douglas, he is actually my appointment to the Open Space Commission. So I thank him for being present on the call this evening. Last night, we heard over 21 residents in our community express some type of positive as well as opposition to the proposal that was presented by the administration. And so what I also want to echo is that commentary. That was just one of a opportunity that we have to recoup some of the lost revenue from the township purchasing Rock Spring. It is a work in progress. We all understand that the jewel that Rock Spring Golf Course is to this community. It is and has been a course that was not eligible to be frequented by people who look like me. And so with that, I want to encourage more community support, output, and participation in what the direction of what this West Orange community wants to see at Rock Spring. So with that, I understand that our council president mentioned that she would like to hold Zoom sessions. I indeed intend to hold on Sunday, April 11th at 8 p.m., the first of what I anticipate many Zoom calls to hear the community and what you would like to see at Rock Spring. So that Zoom announcement is and will be posted on my website, which is Tammy for West Orange. So if you are interested in participating, expressing your opinion, giving additional feedback on what you would like to see at Rock Spring, please feel free to join us on Sunday evening, the 11th of April at 8 p.m. after our vigil, so that we can have an initial conversation on where we would like the direction of Rock Spring to go. I would also like to, in recognition of National Library Day, to say that we have one of our homegrown, one of our own, you know her as Dr. Janice Johnson Dias. She has recently published a book called Parent Like It Matters. She is the mother of Marley Dias, who is currently a sophomore at West Orange High School. She is also the founder of the 1000 Black Girl Books initiative. They are currently excessive of over 12,000 Black girl books. And that was as a response to her being a middle school student and her frustration in only being encouraged in the honors program to read books that did not represent people that looked like her. And so with her being an activist and an advocate at the young age of 11, 12 years old, she created this 1000 Black Girl Books campaign in 2016. Here we are in 2021, and her mother has published through Random House Books her own book called Parent Like It Matters. And so with that, I want to acknowledge to David Kuby that I personally purchased 2 of her books to contribute to our West Orange Library. I hosted a book talk back through one of the organizations I am affiliated with, Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. And we held a book signing and a book talk back for her in the latter weeks of March. And so with that, I had a resident ask me, were there any books available at our West Orange Public Library? And so to that end, I know that we did not have any at that time. This was a couple days after the publication of her book. So I took the liberty of purchasing 2 books. Unfortunately, I was not able to deliver those today, but it is my intent to make sure those are dropped off so that the West Orange public can check those out and have that information. Dr. Janice Johnson-Diaz has been on Good Morning America here talking about her book in New York, and today she was on Good Morning Philadelphia. So I am very happy to make that contribution to our West Orange Public Library. As always, I want to thank each and every one of our speakers who gave of their time to speak today about their concerns. I want to continue to encourage all of our residents to reach out to your council colleagues. We are here to represent you. Each of us have been elected because you have provided faith and confidence in your elected officials. And we can only serve our community if you continue to reach out to us, whether it be communally or independently. But again, I want to reiterate that we are absolutely here to serve you. So you can reach me directly at twilliams@West Orange spelled out, .org. And you can reach all of our council colleagues collectively at towncouncil@westorange.org. So thank you for the time that you continue to advocate for your special interests, to let us know what is important to you. We certainly hear you, we appreciate you, and it is our endeavor to do the best that we can to push West Orange forward. Thank you, Council President. That's all I have.
Thank you. And to all my colleagues, thank you for always taking the time for thoughtful and considerate responses to all of those members of the public. I do want to set the record straight. Councilwoman Williams, you made a statement with respect to the HRC having a need to be inclusive and include those members of our community that are owners of businesses. On Friday, April 4th, Caroline, who is one of our diversity member councils at St. Cloud, did join the HRC, and she sent an email advising you of the planning that was put forth between her and another Asian community member, Caroline, in advising and reaching out to all of the Asian community. So I don't think it's fair to say that they need to be inclusive. They are making tremendous strides to be inclusive. And these are the voices that we're talking about elevating, and not just elevating and giving them a platform, but they're actually, directly impacted as members of the Asian American community. So I just want to be clear. I don't think it's fair to say that they need to be, because they were very thoughtful in their planning this process. So I wanted to clarify the record, and I did send that to that email just so that the council colleagues all understand the planning that they took in reaching out to being to all of our Asian community. With that, Madam Clerk.
Okay, consent agenda, approval of minutes of previous meeting, March 23rd, 2021 Town Council meeting.
Consent.
Report of township officers, none. Reading of petitions and communications and bids. ABC Resolution 643-20, for licensee AMAC trading as La Primavera Trattoria. The name was revised on the resolution and sent to the state ABC. I wanted to make the council aware of that.
Thank you.
Bills, are there any questions on the bills?
I did, and I don't have the number of the line item, but I will just ask Mr. Gross. I'm sure it's not something that I expect you to be able to answer at this meeting, but I am hopeful for a follow-up answer to myself and to my council colleagues with respect to matters of litigation and what those legal fees are. Specific to a matter that is on our agenda to be discussed later this evening. So I would like to better understand the cost of that litigation. Thank you.
Resolutions, Council President, are any resolutions being pulled this evening?
I do know a couple of my council colleagues, Councilman Rutherford and Councilwoman Castellino, have requested, as well as myself, to pull 6321.
Okay.
Do any of my council colleagues need anything else pulled? Yes, Councilwoman McCartney.
Thank you. This is not to pull, but just a comment or a question to the administration on Resolution 60-21. This is purchasing township vehicles. I just would like to ask the administration to continue to add to our green fleet with hybrids, if and when possible, or when it's appropriate. Thank you.
Councilwoman Castellino. Thank you, Councilwoman McCartney.
Council President, I just quick question for Mr. Gross in regards to the fleet. I just wanted to see how we're doing with keeping on schedule with replacement. Glad to see these 3 items on the resolution this evening. Mr. Gross, I know there's a plan out there. Are we on target?
Well, this is the 2000, what you see tonight is the capital authorizations from 2020 for the fire department, and these 3 vehicles were approved for them. There was also vehicles approved for the police department. Those have not been ordered yet. We are looking at what the order deadlines are and our potential issues with actually getting them in this year.
Yeah.
That's being pushed back. We are talking to a couple of entities. I don't want to go into specifics at this point in time about looking at the management of our fleet in a different way. So we will not be procuring based on last year's capital until we resolve whether or not we're going to try something different. And certainly once we do that, I'll be happy to give you all the details. I just don't want to take the time this evening because it'll probably be a very lengthy conversation.
And Mr. Gross, in regards to some of the vehicles that were on back order due to COVID, have they come in yet?
Everything that we've ordered is, to my understanding, is in now. So we're not waiting for any vehicles that have been ordered. Again, we've chosen not to order some vehicles in anticipation of looking at maintenance, a different way to do maintenance and procurement. So
Okay, I look forward to those conversations. Thank you.
thank you.
And Council President, I had another question on another resolution, if everybody's done with that resolution.
Yes, go ahead.
So I shouldn't say so much a question, but a request. If I know Mr. Laporte is on, this has been an ongoing project. I'd like to thank him for all his efforts that we now for resolution 62-21 for the roofs and the improvements at the fire stations. And if he could just share with us when they will be started and completed. And also, I have a quick question for him on the other improvements as well. Mr. Lepore.
Sure. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Castellino and other council members and Council President Matute Brown. This is a project, a continuation of improvements to our firehouses. We, a couple years ago, put new roofs on fire stations 3 and 4, as well as number 5. Now we're moving down to headquarters and Fire Station 2 on Washington Street, as well as the municipal building.
And
I
the,
expect the work to start next month, and the contractor has approximately 90 days to complete the work.
okay. And as far as the interiors in regards to the bathrooms and the other items you were taking care of in a few of the firehouses, how's that progressing?
We have advertised for bids for improvements at Fire Station 1. That's the fire station that has 2 tours of duty. That's one we wanted to look at first, again, because not just because of the need, but also because of the members of the number of the firemen that occupy that building. We're taking bids later this month. I anticipate making an award in May, and Mr. Gross and I will look at the monies that we have available and then plan how we will go with interior improvements at fire stations 3 and 4.
Thank you, Mr. Lepore. That's all, Council President, for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Castellino. Councilwoman Williams.
Hi, thank you. I also had the same question regarding 60-21, the purchase of vehicles for our police department. I just wanted to understand if there was any consideration to moving toward hybrid vehicles.
Yes, we are considering that there's certain areas where it makes sense. Clearly, right now, we don't think it makes sense in pursuit vehicles, but when we purchase vehicles, for instance, for some of the administrative personnel, certainly within non-uniformed uses, we see the place for hybrid and electric vehicles. So one of the things we're looking at grants for the installation of electric stations, so that when we do get electric vehicles, we have to be able to charge them. So there is some logistical issues and infrastructures that have to be addressed in order to make that switch. But yes, it is definitely, the mayor has made it clear to us that all of our vehicle purchases, our first decision is to determine whether or not we could possibly get to a greener fleet with those purchases. And we expect that over time, and by the way, that's part of one of the things we're looking at in terms of fleet management, vehicle maintenance, and procurement, is how to accelerate that. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do any other council colleagues have anything they want to pull? Madam Clerk?
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is implemented. Resolution 63-21, resolution authorizing a settlement agreement between Kevin Malanga and the Township of West Orange regarding approximately 12 acres on Ridge Road and the carriage home in the Ridge Road vicinity, the potential open space. Council President.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I am going to yield the floor first to Councilman Rutherford, as he and I did discuss earlier. He wanted this pulled, and then Councilwoman Castellino, and then we'll open the floor to the rest of the council. Councilman Rutherford.
Thank you, Council President. I am very uncomfortable with this settlement agreement. I have read the draft agreement. I am not confident that there is, and I don't know how we can find out. So I guess I have some questions, and maybe our town attorney can answer it for me. How do we know that this is the full agreement, that there isn't a separate agreement outside of this agreement that does not necessarily include us, but does include the developers for this particular project. That is my most pressing concern, and I have a few others.
Council President, can I respond?
Please, thank you.
I believe there is a separate agreement that does not involve the township and is a private agreement between the developer, B&E, and Mr. Malenga. But I am not privy to it, and I have not been provided with a copy of it.
So are we empowered to require disclosure of any separate agreements that would be directly tied to that particular development? And I ask that because we're issuing a pilot. I didn't vote for the pilot, but it's still approved. And so if we're providing some benefit to the developers and then they're going to provide some benefit to someone else, shouldn't we know about that?
Again, developers and private citizens have a right to enter into agreements. And obviously, I want to just suggest that at some point, and Council President, you ultimately and the council have to make the decision. There may be aspects of this because there is pending litigation, as you know, that I don't want to say or do anything in the public that would prejudice or harm the township's position. But the short answer, the direct answer to your question, Councilman Rutherford, is we don't have a right to compel private parties, which is what you have here, to disclose whatever agreement or agreements they may or may not be making between themselves. We know, as a result of approving the financial agreement, which the council has done, and as a result of approving the redevelopment agreement, exactly what the town of West Orange will get. And that is clear and unequivocal. And so there is nothing in this record or any record that suggests that that their agreement has any negative impact on the town. In fact, as a result of these efforts, it appears that it will allow these projects that have been approved by the town council to as expeditiously as possible, as you saw in the draft agreement, literally within 6 months, if not sooner, to literally get placed into the process of being public amenities that will enhance the town.
So, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear. We do not have the ability to compel the developer. I know we can't compel Mr. Malanga as a resident, but we don't have the ability to compel the developer to disclose to us any agreements they may have that have been, that arise out of that development for which they have received, some benefit from the town.
You have the same rights as to Mr. Malenga as you do with regard to the developer, to ask either or both to tell you anything you so choose, but we don't have the power to compel it, if that, I think, is the way you phrased it.
Okay, so that's the first consideration. The second consideration is if there is, and that's my concern, is that there may be, I don't know that for sure, but if there is a separate agreement for some consideration provided by the developer to a private resident, my concern is that any benefit that comes out of that project should go to West Orange as a township, not to an individual who resides in West Orange. And so that part of it is distasteful for me, especially if I'm not able to know for certain either that there exists an agreement and then what is inside that agreement, what that agreement entails. So, I'm having a difficult time. Actually, I cannot support this settlement agreement without having more facts. And let me just say this, I'm in general supportive of preserving open space, period, as much of it as possible. I think that's a great idea for West Orange. I think that's a part of what makes this town beautiful. And to the extent that we can, we should. But I don't think that we should do it this way. And I'm concerned about a precedent we may be setting for future developments for individuals to get involved and extract the benefit for themselves or slow down the process for no other reason than to extract the benefit themselves. And I'm not accusing Mr. Malanga of that. I don't know that for sure. But I don't want to set that precedent. And then every time we go through a development, we have to, go through a process like this.
And I totally respect all of your sentiments. You and I have talked about this on and off the record. All I would say from the administration's perspective, the benefits from the $3.1 million that everyone is well familiar with, to obtaining title to 10 Rooney, to obtaining the TSA as a tenant with a substantial rent roll, to affordable housing, to the project at the existing library and the community space. The administration believes on total, including what you exactly referred to as the 12 acres and the carriage house. And I provided to Ms. Carnival, I'm sure she either has or will email around. I late today got a letter from the attorney for the carriage house. So basically, we can now quantify that expense that will be by separate submission to the council at a later time, that the administration and specifically the mayor and all of us believe on total that getting these projects done and obtaining all of those what we call 100-year improvements is in the best interest of the town. Obviously, you have every right and every we totally respect you and every member of the council and respect your position. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to listen to some more of the conversation before I continue with my comments, if that's okay.
No, absolutely okay. That's why we're here. Thank you, Mr. Trank, and thank you, Council Member Rutherford. Councilwoman Castellino.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you to my colleague for pulling this as well. I've been an elected official for 10 years on the school board, my 6 years at Township Council. I take pride in every vote I take, and I've seen many settlement statements. And this, I have to say, just disgusts me to no end. I have a very simple rule in what I do. And that is, if I could lay my head on a pillow at night and go to sleep and not think about a vote that I made, I know I made the right decision. And there's no way I could support this. I would be up for many nights. And what breaks my heart, and the reason why I'm so disgusted with this, is because the Executive Drive project is a great project for our township. We're getting so much out of that project. I commend all the administration, everyone who spent their time and their support on it, all the members of our library board and our director and everyone who put time in. I'm on the Friends board. I know what this project means. I know what's on stake. I know what's on the line. And because of all that's on the line and what a great benefit this is to the community, I've never been, again, so disgusted that this is being held up for, I have to say, for my colleague was much kinder, for selfish reasons. The property that is looking to be purchased is on Ridge Road, where Mr. Malanga resides. And I want to take the personal feelings out of this. So I've asked Mr. Gross for some questions. Let's talk about the 12 acres, Mr. Gross, and the loss of tax revenue. I was waiting for an answer on that. I apologize if you sent it to me later this afternoon. But what is the tax revenue we're going to lose on the 12 acres?
Mr. Gross?
Let me make sure we didn't lose him.
Okay, thank you.
There.
He is there. I'm just going to send him a note. He may be having some issue with his video.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Mr. Gross, were you able to hear Councilwoman Castellino?
I did hear her question, and I do not have the assessed, was not able to attain the assessed value today in order to get the info. Now, if I'm not sure whether Mr. Trink may have that as a matter of course. If not, I will get that information to you. But obviously, there is a tax. There is, it's 12 acres of property. There is a tax consequence to that, as it would be any open space that you would acquire from any source.
And Mr. Gross, just I don't know if this is a fair ballpark or not, but we did get updated appraisals on that Mr. Laporte circulated of a $1.6 million. So at 4%, that would be 64,000 a year. Again, I don't know if
that sounds reasonable. Yeah, figure it's going to be 80% of that, so probably around 50,000.
Right, and then again, that doesn't include Councilwoman I'm not sure the acreage on the carriage house, but I think what we're saying is 50, 60, 75,000 a year.
Okay, plus, Mr. Gross, I had asked, I'm not sure if you had the numbers together or not. These were questions that were asked a few years ago when the council did not support the purchase of open space because of, again, the town will then, and not that we don't support open space for of course we do. But the walls, the structural damages to the walls that we would inherit, then we'd have to maintain the roadway. The carriage house we would inherit. That's new. That wasn't even on the last plan. I think that's why I'm so frustrated with this agreement, because not only, I guess I could have been a little more persuaded if it was the parcels that we originally were going to look to purchase, but then we added additional properties, additional burden to the township with this carriage house and restrictions. I mean, there's a land conservation restriction, property restrictions. Usually when you purchase open space like Rock Spring, we have golfers there. There's some kind of benefit to the community. This is a private road, not a public road, a private road that right now is maintained by the property owners on that roadway. And I appreciate the other residents that live there and appreciate the understanding of the concerns. Carriage house fire protection, carriage house roof repair, stabilization of carriage house, besides the acquisition, why, this wasn't condemned by the building department yet. I wanted that question answered. So quite a few answers on this. Will be very landlocked of uses for the township. Again, I'm just disgusted, very disgusted, very disappointed. This is a great opportunity with the executive drive agreement that we all supported. And it saddens me to no end that we can't move this forward because of this litigation. Shame on you, Mr. Malanga. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Castellino. I have to say that just to follow what both my council colleagues' sentiments are, I am in the same space, and I've made that very clear to the administration. I was quite disappointed to see this on the agenda. However, now that it is on the agenda as a matter of a public record, I have to say that I advocated for the purchase of Ridge Road when I was first elected. I do believe that there is a need to preserve canopy for all of us, because that is a benefit to all of us. However, I can't get past the idea, the notion, the thought process I'm counting in resolution, and for the public that is following along, this resolution is resolution 63-21. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Trank, I'm counting 3 different docket numbers included in the settlement agreement, so 3 separate litigations. And I can't help but to question the purpose or integrity and intent of the litigation if the litigant, who is clearly claiming damages as a result of the designation of executive drive, hence the reason for his litigation, can say, well, you know what, I spent, and Mr. Gross, this is why I wanted to know, I want to know what is the expense, the tax, what has the taxpayers paid? What have we expended from our tax dollars in these litigations? And I don't know how far back these litigations go, which is why I asked. I know you don't have that answer for me now, but we have expended taxpayer dollars on these litigations for a number of years, under the auspices of the council being wrong in designation of an area in need of redevelopment and being able to provide developers benefits that don't benefit the community. However, here is a settlement agreement with benefits that, because of the structure of this, benefits one resident or the residents on a private road. $3.1 million for the construction library board. I am prepared to, as much as I support this project, I am prepared to bond that before I agree to what feels to me, and whether or not it is, but what feels to me almost as a bargaining chip. Why file litigation for so long and be willing to dismiss the litigations if the township, the taxpayers, if we all purchase land on private road and in the carriage house, and add the carriage house, and let's talk about the carriage house and all of the caveats that the township, are we now maintenance? Are we now supposed to take the guidance of the, what is the easement here to the land conservancy? They're having an easement, so they'll benefit. The Land Conservancy of New Jersey will benefit far greater than the residents of West Orange, because there are no paths. I remember when we were first advocating for this, it was said by those who wanted this purchase that, you know, residents would be able to access. Residents would be able to have some sort of recreation. But there is a list of things that we cannot do. I don't understand how we got here. To Councilman Rutherford's point, it is very, I don't know, Councilman, did you say distasteful or disconcerting that there may be, or there is, a separate agreement with a developer? So are we willing to set precedent for the next person who wants to come to town and sue the township, so long as there's a bargaining chip that benefits that individual? I have said this in private and saying it in public. I do not support this. And if that means that the project that I have supported, inclusive of the library and the grant funds for the library, are lost, then that's exactly what will happen. Because I am, you know, to my council colleagues' point, disgusted. To me, this feels disingenuous and self-serving. Certainly nothing to do that's going to benefit the town. Why sue the township? You're lauded as a township hero because the appeal was won, but now all of a sudden, you know, the appeal can be tossed aside and we can just dismiss this lawsuit, the 3 lawsuits, 3, in exchange for an undisclosed settlement agreement in exchange for 2 pieces of property on a private road that will ultimately, especially when the carriage house is expected to be rehabilitated, increase the value of an individual's own home. I can't support that. And Councilman Rutherford's point, the developer is receiving the benefit of a pilot. And for there to even be a consideration of some sort of settlement, I would imagine that because he doesn't own land here, he's not giving land. It may be a monetary consideration, but that impacts us, because if we're giving the developer a pilot and he benefits financially from that pilot, and any benefits that he receives is passed on to a private citizen, there's a lot that there is so much to be concerned about in this situation. I said from the beginning, I am not supportive of this. I am still not supportive of this, and I am quite looking at this situation as it is presented to us really makes me question the integrity and intent behind the lawsuits. I saw Councilman Rutherford's hand and then Councilwoman Williams.
I think Councilwoman Williams was up before me.
Okay, and then Councilwoman.
Yeah, if we could just stay in order. Yeah, are you?
If I could, because I did have my hand raised, and quite frankly, as a 19-year member of the real estate profession, I have had conversations with a council colleague. I've had conversations with the administration. And so to that end, I just want to continue to reiterate my frustration, my disdain for how this might set precedent if the council were to move forward with the acceptance of this agreement. And so while I understand that there is a need to move this project forward, myself and Councilman Rutherford, we're the newest elected members to this council. And so the history of everything that might have come before our election, you know, we don't know what we don't know. But what I do know as a member of the real estate profession is that every time I go down Mount Pleasant, Ridge Road is a private road, right? And so to have a agreement that we as council members would agree to on a private road where it does not benefit the entire community of West Orange, we are asked to vote on issues that are to the benefit of the community. And so with that being known, with that being what is ordinary, I had a tremendous challenge reading this resolution, accepting this resolution, and I want to be very transparent in how I feel. So let me be very clear. Last night, we had a presentation from the administration on an impending project for Rock Spring. And at the end of the day, Mr. Malenga was very tempered in his response. What I do know, as a 20-year resident of West Orange, 19 years to be very exact, I moved here in 2002. I have been involved in politics or in the political play field since 2016 and my appointment by the mayor. But prior to that, I was a member of the Human Relations Commission appointed by our first Black councilman in 2008. And so to that end, I have been engaged in what's been going on in West Orange for a very long time. I am very recollective of the fact that Mr. Malenga was a party to the litigation at the battery factory. And that was delayed for 7 years. And while I am not interested in delaying or preventing the relocation of our library and losing $3.1 million for that relocation, what I am not okay with is him holding this administration and this council hostage so that we approve something that is to the benefit of the few residents that live on a private road. This is not going to benefit the community at large. I have taken the liberty as a real estate professional to drive down Ridge Road with my child because I wanted to expose her to all of West Orange. But I say that knowing that it is a private road. And so if you review this resolution, they have required in this resolution that not only does it continue to be maintained as a private road, but there are also additional restrictions that prevent usage from the broader community. And so to that end, for you to come to us to say that, oh, and let's be very clear, you lost and the case against you in West Orange was dismissed. You are currently on appeal. So while last night we had a presentation and you spoke in negative favor of the proposal that was just presented, you were very tempered in your response, Mr. Malenga. And yes, I am speaking directly to you and your comments. But that was because you were very clear on the impending litigation and resolution that is before us this evening. And so to that end, you are the beneficiary on your private road of what you are requesting this township to pursue. You indicated last night in public comment that you and your wife, Sally Malenga, took the liberty of cross-country skiing on a public golf course. That golf course is for community enjoyment. It is not for cross-country skiing. So the result of any injury that you may or may not cause to the public golf course was of no consequential significance to you. You take liberties at your leisure. So for me as an elected official to represent the entire community of West Orange and to give you the benefit as an individual of a private road that you live on, I can't sit here and do that in full understanding of what my obligation as an elected official to this community means. And so I say that as reiteration of what you have already heard my council colleagues state. This is a benefit to you. This is a benefit to the very few residents who happen to live on the private road, Ridge Road. So I am asking that at this point in time, we table this discussion. We do not even continue with any further deliberation on whether or not we move this resolution forward. And I am asking for one of my council colleagues to please second my request to table this resolution until this administration has an opportunity to come back and present to us something better that is not a complete benefactor to Mr. Malenga and his desires, but something that will absolutely generate a beneficiary to the entire community of West Orange.
Council
Thank
President, a
you.
motion to
Thank you,
table.
Councilwoman. I'd like Councilwoman, yes.
A motion to table is non-debatable motion if it is seconded and then it is immediately voted on. So it would.
Council President, may I? Thank you.
I'm sorry. I thought I heard Mr. Trank say that there's a motion, it's non-debatable. Is there a
Right.
second?
If there's a second.
This is a second. I raised my hand. I didn't get a chance to speak
No,
yet.
I know, but Mr. Trank is saying that, and I want to give you that opportunity. Mr. Trank is saying that there has to be a second. I'm not supporting that tabling motion.
But if Councilwoman McCartney seconds it, again, there would be a vote on whether to table or
Okay.
not. If the
I-
table, you still can have, if it is
No,
tabled, then it
understood.
won't be voted on
I-
subsequently night, but you could still carry on the discussion.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not a-
I understand. So I'm asking any of my council colleagues, I'm just stating, I'm not supporting that tabling motion. Do any one of my council colleagues have a second?
I thought
I did
Councilwoman
just-
McCartney,
I did
Oh.
just second that.
You
Is that-
seconded it? You
I
did?
I raised my hand
Oh.
to second
I
that
thought you were
motion.
raising your hand to speak. Okay.
Well, and that also because I didn't get a chance to speak, and I
Okay.
do feel that there are so many things that are wrong and uncomfortable with this overreaching settlement. I wanted to say that I have supported the executive drive plan. I'm trying very hard to look at the bigger picture, to erase the $4 million worth of tax appeals, to improve and redevelop the site that is standing at 58% vacant, to add to the township's affordable housing obligation and the proposed new library and the new dog park. But this resolution even impinges on all of that development. To me, I feel this resolution, I am just as uncomfortable. That was the word that was used before. I'm very uncomfortable with this overreaching agreement for the township to purchase 12 acres, which I did not vote. I voted no on the first time around. Number 2 and number 10 Ridge Road using open space funds, leaving limited use of leaving limited use for the public. Now we have this also in this resolution to add number 36, the carriage house. I know that this has been on the agenda of the Historic Preservation Commission. I would have liked to have seen this come forward through open space, possibly to make a recommendation to the council, because open space funds could be used to preserve historic sites, but not under these conditions, again, limiting so much use for the public. So I would like the administration, I did second this, to go back to the drawing board. This is not a resolution that we can support.
Council President, again, a motion to table is non-debatable motion, and the clerk should call the roll as to
Right.
whether the majority of the council wishes to table. You can continue to discuss this if it's tabled or not tabled, but if it's tabled, then obviously there will not be a substantive vote, and we will take the direction of the council and go back to the drawing board.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Councilwoman Castellino,
Table, no.
Councilwoman McCartney.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, yes.
Councilman Rutherford,
No.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Matute Brown.
No.
Okay, so the motion failed.
Thank you. Councilman Rutherford, I see your hand up.
So I want to continue the conversation along some of the lines that Councilwoman McCartney just brought up there. For full disclosure, I supported Mr. Malanga's dissent or disagreement lawsuit against the area in need of redevelopment designation for Executive Drive. I did not think we needed to do that, and I still don't think we need to do that for that property. I did not think we needed a pilot to entice a developer to develop there. I still don't think that. So I have been supportive of his position with regard to Executive Drive. That said, I am not supportive of any resident extracting a personal benefit out of a project where tax dollars are being used, period. Doesn't matter who the resident is. So to Council President's point earlier about losing the 3.1 million, if we agree to this, so the library construction grant is 3.1 million. There's a timeline on it. I spoke with our town attorney about that. I know that there is some real pressure and there is a real risk that we may lose that money if we don't agree to this settlement, which is another reason why I don't want to agree to it, because I don't think we should be forced into making decisions like that. But if we were to lose the 3.1 million, that would be a tragedy. Even though I stated my position on that development already, it would be a tragedy. We certainly don't want to do that. But by agreeing to this, we're going to lose 2.1 million at the very least right away. And then we're going to have carrying costs every single year for the rest of time associated with both the carriage house, the road, and the forest that is on the 12 acres. So we're going to lose far more than 3.1 million over the course of time if we agree to this. So the question really for us is, do we lose big or lose little? Do we lose now or lose later? But this is forcing us into a lose-lose situation. And that is what's distasteful for me. So that is what requires pause on my part. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Council President, again, I think no one could not understand more clear the sentiment of the council as a result of all the comments that have been articulately expressed. I would ask because, again, number one, we are, as a result of what I think is clearly going to be the decision of the council tonight, we are going to continue to be in litigation, and I do not want to give more fodder for that. And I would respectfully request, and again, we are able to discuss these issues in executive session because it is a matter of litigation that is perfectly appropriate under the Open Public Meetings Act. So I would just, I think that the council president and your colleagues, your sentiment is to vote down this resolution. And I'm not gonna, I don't think, I would rather you respectfully either allow us to withdraw it so we can go back to the drawing board.
Understood.
And if you want to vote it down, you have every right, Council President. I will never stand on your shoes. I would just ask that now that everyone has had a round of setting forth, allow us to attempt to hear you loud and clear and not create a more again, I don't know how to articulate say it because
I completely understand. I don't practice law, but I am in a household full of lawyers, so understand exactly what you mean, and I agree with that. I just will say to my council colleagues who supported tabling this, the reason I did not support that is because I am not willing to negotiate, and neither will I be willing to negotiate in a week or two whether or not there is something better. There's just no negotiation for me. So I'm going to ask Madam Clerk, can you please call a roll call?
I need a motion to withdraw. Is that what I'm
No,
asking?
we are.
Whether to adopt or not. Okay. So is there a motion to adopt 6321?
Council President.
I'm
I
sorry.
have already articulated a motion to table. Yeah, to table, and that did fail.
Yes.
However,
Councilman Rutherford did have his hand up before you. So sorry.
I think procedurally, Council President and Madam Clerk, it would really be a resolution to defeat this resolution.
Okay.
And
exactly. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Councilman Rutherford, and thank you, Mr. Trank.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear if our town attorney was suggesting that they do something, withdraw this motion themselves. I don't know if there's something you're trying to accomplish, Mr. Trank, procedurally, so that it doesn't put us at a disadvantaged position going forward.
Well, again, yes, all of the above. So we are praying for peace on earth and a resolution so we can get all of the things that you all want and we all share in. And so I respect everybody's opinion and decision, and I just want to move forward. And I think that if the council wants to defeat the motion, the resolution, that's fine. If the council will allow us to withdraw it, that's fine. We understand loud and clear the sentiment of all members unanimously of this council. So
and so as a point of order, which doesn't require me to not interrupt conversation at this point, I just want to be very clear and transparent. Are we not providing the administration an opportunity to withdraw the motion, because that is their privilege?
I am watching the body expressions of my council colleagues, and I am reading that there is a preference to defeat this motion. And okay, so yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that is the
I'm happy. it's fine to withdraw it. If that puts the administration at a more favorable position going forward, I'm happy to do that. But if we do take a vote, my vote is no.
So let me ask Councilman Rutherford, so the purpose, and maybe I am misunderstanding, Mr. Trank, the purpose of withdrawing the motion is to go back to the table and try to renegotiate something? Is that the purpose?
Certainly, again, for all of the above and more, the administration, as you know, feels strongly as that we should, based upon the sentiment of the council, go back and have further discussions. They may not be fruitful, and whatever we present will obviously, in the end, need your approval. But I would, again, I'm okay with whatever way you go. I would just ask that we, I don't think there's a need for more public, and it's not because anybody's hiding anything. We've laid it out plain and simple, and every one of you have been very, very direct, and I respect that. I'm just saying that we want to, based upon all the input, go back and attempt to see if there's any pathway that will resolve your deep concerns and will allow us to bring it back. But again, you make the calls and we respect your decision.
Thank you, Mr. Trank. So hearing that, Councilman Rutherford, if this were to come back to the council, would your position change? Or would it be dependent on what the proposal is?
So it is certainly dependent upon the proposal. I don't have enough information here. Well, I'm concerned about the developer entering in. So we don't, I know this conversation puts us at a disadvantaged position. There is very little that could be changed in what I've seen so far, and I have it up on my screen right now as we've been discussing. There's very little that could change my vote. However, I don't want to tie the hands of the administration.
Absolutely.
If I don't have to.
Thank you.
And I understand that. I just want to be clear that I am not willing to negotiate, and that's my position. If my council colleagues, the majority, are willing to accept some sort of negotiation here, then that's, I will be outvoted, and that's fine, but that's just my position.
Well, how are we
Councilwoman Castellino, I recognize Councilwoman Castellino.
I have no interest in negotiations. I think executive drive was a great opportunity for our township. And I think the litigation should go away on its own. I don't think we should be entertaining this.
So Councilwoman Williams.
I just wanted to reiterate that unfortunately, we don't know what we don't know. And so to make a rash decision on what we're willing to entertain based on what the administration may or may not be able to present to us, I don't want to deny them that opportunity. We need this litigation to go away so that we can move forward. There is absolutely no guarantee that the court system will be able to litigate this court case so that we can move forward. And absolutely, this is a viable plan. This is a plan that is beneficial to the community. And unfortunately, what we are presented with is a self-serving resolution to a member of our community. And so one of my biggest challenges is the fact that while we may be able to erase the current litigation, it doesn't do anything about impending litigation. And we know this is a litigious resident. And so to that end, I don't know what we don't know. And so we don't know what we don't know. So I don't want to tie the hands of the administration who has the benefactor of negotiating terms and then presenting them to us as a vote. So that's why I moved to table this resolution to a later date, give the administration an opportunity to come back. And so, unfortunately, parliamentary procedure dictates that if we defeat this motion, they certainly have to come back to us with something completely different in theory.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't want to tie the hands of our administration and prevent us from being able to move forward with this opportunity. This plan is a viable plan. So if we sit here as elected officials and say no and defeat this resolution, then we're limiting the hands of our administration, and that's not my intent.
So again, Council President, just because I do want to avoid some of the fodder, again, I would suggest you call the question. Again, I'm not sure if there was a motion to defeat the resolution. If there is in a second, I think you can call the question. Either way, you can be assured, Council President, as you've articulated said in the past, it is the administration's job to bring you whatever is the most viable or whatever we think is in the best interest, and it is your determination to approve or deny it, and we respect that. So I think the administration would like to move on for this, recognizing that either way you vote, whether you allow me to withdraw it or you vote it down, we certainly won't bring you back the same thing, and we hear you loud and clear, and I can promise you that we will continue to keep you advised. And I know, Council President, you spent Saturday afternoons on the phone with me for hours on this very topic. So I know you and your colleagues, and Councilman Rutherford spent an hour and a half while he was eating dinner after last night's work session. So and so has every one of your colleagues. So we know where we all are at, and we hear you loud and clear. So again, I would just say, call the question so that we don't need to engender. I hope everybody takes this right. I don't want to engender more hostility. We got enough issues and problems.
Absolutely.
And that's why I want to move through it. And if the only way to move through it is to continue with the litigation, then we are ready, willing, and able. We believe in the positions that this governing body has taken. And the sole reason this was before you was because of the pathway and because of the grant. But you've spoken, and we will follow your direction. No issues.
Thank you, Mr. Trank. Councilwoman Castellino, and then Attorney Kaiser.
I'll let Mr. Kaiser speak, but I was going to make a motion to defeat the resolution.
I've been trying to be quiet here, but frankly, I don't think it makes any difference which way you go. The administration is not going to be precluded from doing something different to you later. And I understand exactly where Rich is coming from, and everybody's kind of expressed the same kind of thing here. So I don't think you should obsess about that. Whether you vote at the table, whatever we can get back with something different.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Councilwoman Castellino, you had a motion.
I had a motion.
Okay, is there a second motion to defeat?
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Councilman Rutherford?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Council President Matute Brown?
Yes.
Okay, the motion is carried to defeat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you to my council colleagues and our administration. I know that this is incredibly difficult and challenging. And Mr. Trank, I certainly appreciate your patience with each and every one of us, not just here in this forum, but when we have to engage outside of this forum, and Mr. Kaiser as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work, Mr. Trank.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Councilwoman McCartney.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williams made a comment before being new to the council. I just want to assure Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Rutherford, in my 18 years on the council now, we have never seen any type of agreement like this. So I just wanted to assure you this is, as I said before, felt very uncomfortable for all.
Okay.
Thank you. I think, Madam Clerk, are we?
Yes, there are no ordinances on second and final reading and no ordinances on first reading. So we're at pending matters, new matters, and council discussion.
So I did want, thank you, Madam Clerk. I did want to, now that we have appointed our council liaison to the Economic Development Commission, I would like to move forward with an appointment for a council liaison to the Economic Development Commission. I have expressed interest. I've shared that with the mayor. I've shared that with most of you. And so I would certainly like to have that discussion and add that to the agenda for this evening.
I'll make a motion to appoint you, Council President.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, let me take a vote. Hold on one second.
Just a point of order. I thought that the mayor had already appointed the council liaison. We received the new agenda roster from Madam Clerk, and it looked like Susan McCartney, Councilwoman McCartney, was the appointment from the mayor.
How does the mayor appoint a council liaison? It's a council consensus appointment for the liaison.
I'm just clarifying for clarity.
Okay.
I didn't see that roster. I don't.
If the mayor appointed Councilwoman McCartney, it may be as a member, but the council liaison is selected amongst us.
Can we clarify that with?
That's correct.
Okay.
Generally, I mean, that's the whole purpose of a council liaison position. It's not a mayoral appointment, it's a council appointment.
That's how we do all the other liaison appointments.
Okay, so we have.
What I don't recall, in fairness, what I don't recall is whether the ordinance that we have provides for a council liaison for that commission.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor in a second, so I'm going to take a roll call. Councilwoman Castellino,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney,
You know, I am going to vote yes on this, though I do know that I feel any one of us can be that council liaison. I know the position is for 1 year. Me being a business owner for almost 30 years here in town, I know that I would be highly qualified to serve in that position. We all come with our expertise and knowledge, so yes, we'll give you an opportunity this first time out.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilman Rutherford,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
I'm going to abstain for the simple fact that when I reviewed that ordinance, it indicates some prerequisites that are required to serve on that commission. And those prerequisites indicate someone who is engaged in the real estate profession, fundraising, as well as economic development. So I'm going to abstain.
Go ahead. Council President Matute Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
And thank you. And Councilwoman McCartney, to your point, absolutely. I think I did see the roster. I think that you being appointed makes you by the mayor, makes you a voting member on the Economic Development Commission. So that your expertise is certainly welcomed on that commission, I'm sure.
Thank you. And again, they're open public meetings. You know, I
Yes,
try to fit in on as
absolutely.
many as possible, so that goes the same for all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Did my council colleagues have any new business?
Yes, we wanted to talk about budget dates.
Yeah.
We talked about at the start of the meeting, if we have any budget dates.
Mr. Gross, can you give us an update both for the budget dates and when we are expecting the contracts? I know that you've mentioned it to me in a call and I completely neglected to share with my council colleagues in passing.
We are hoping to hear soon from the fire superiors. We believe that we're settled with them. We do not have anything on firefighters at this point in time. We also, there's still some things we don't know. We've got a pretty good handle on the budget, and I think you could probably realistically pick some dates, maybe in the end of April for sure. One of the things we don't know is what the impact of the federal monies that are coming to the town are and how that might impact the budget. So we'd like to get a good handle on that. I'm going to be meeting with the mayor over the next few days, and as I've told the mayor, you know, at any given point in time, I'm a week or so away from producing the document. He's got some things that he needs to finish up with me. So, you know, I would certainly think within the next 2 weeks, we'll be in a position to do a distribution of the document, and that would put you in place to have a workshop meeting later in the and what, Council President, I'd like to, if we get to that point, have a discussion with you about the workshop meeting and the formatting and how we proceed this year.
Okay. Sounds good.
President?
Yes, Councilwoman Castellino.
Yeah, this is for Mr. Gross and Mr. Sayers. I heard you just say we're still not final with the fireman's contract. I know the spirits officers has been finalized. Can we wrap this up soon? Where are we at? What's,
Well, we've settled with terms with all everybody that we've settled with. We've settled with very similar terms. So I think everybody knows what will settle these contracts. We can't twist arms. I think once.
Have they met? Has the firemen's union met with the administration?
There have not been any meetings. We're trying to, again, we need to, and we believe that we've settled with the superiors. Once we have those documents in hand, we think that'll move this along.
Okay. All right. Appreciate an update on that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the, we talked also about the professional service contracts. There's a few that are outstanding, some that have expired. When should the council anticipate those?
We had hoped that it would be for this evening, but we just were not able to do it. So we anticipate it will be at the next meeting.
Okay, Councilwoman Williams. Yeah. All of them.
All of them.
Thank you, Council President. Again, being new to this process on this side of the table, I just wanted to understand, since there are still so many unknowns, is it wise for us to set a date? Or would it be more advisable for us to wait to the next council meeting before we actually settle dates? Just in the event that things aren't settled, what would we move forward in finalizing?
We're not settling, we're not selecting dates this evening, just trying to gauge a time space, a time frame as to when we can anticipate a budget presentation. And then to your point, Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Rutherford, with respect to your appointees on the budgetary committee, Mr. Gross, when is that presented to them so that they can share that information as well?
Current history has been that once documents are distributed to the council, that they could then be distributed to anyone. They're going to be public access. Certainly, what has happened is that in the past number of years, the advisory committee has met after the hearing and provided a report after the hearing to that's really, and I'm not saying there's a better way to do that. It's just the way that it resolved, or how the group did.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so we'll just wait until you're able to give us the information, but we're looking at a couple of weeks into April before we look at a date.
Yeah, I think you should be prepared to set a date at the next meeting.
Okay.
Probably, and then in the meantime, I think we can have some offline discussions about what we think this is going to, how this could play out, and get your ideas on how you'd like to see the budget hearing proceed.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Mr. Gross. Any other items for new business, new discussion? None? Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned.
Looks pretty good.
Have a good
Not
night.
good enough though, Johnny.
I'll take it.
Okay, thank
Have
you
a
all.
great-
This is to
Within the
inform you
market.
that when I end the meeting, it will end for both those on screen and off screen, and no other business will be conducted. Excuse me. Thank you all and have a great night.
Good night.
Hi, West
night.
Orange.
Thank you. Good night.